Hello guys, Robert1 here, coming at you with my updated Pendulum deck profile. Now, obviously, ban list was 2 weeks ago. I did my hero deck profile. Now it's time to do the next best deck in the game. Yeah, this deck ain't the best deck in the game. It's good, it's really good, but it needs to go first too much, so I can't consider this deck being the best deck in the game. But it is a very strong deck, and this is my updated version of it. My updated version of Pendulum Magicians. Obviously, this build is something that I've been messing with, thinking about, and honestly, the way I believe you should be playing Pendulum right now is going a little away from the guard, going as far away from guard dragons as possible. Because yes, the guard dragons are good, being that LP can summon like Tempest from the deck, and then you can do Tempest shenanigans and do a little more there. But I feel like because we lost the Agape, there's not really any need to go down that route anymore. And I found that not even playing those cards, we're still able to make solid 7 negate boards at times with like just ease. And that's kind of what I've based this deck around. Making big negate boards, having still potential to OTK very easily, while also just being able to have very consistent hands that can end on a board with very good combos in general. So this is the build that I've come up with. I've been testing it. It's been working really well in testing. Outside of my YCS testing, of course, because need to be testing for that. Stream will be coming, hopefully. But yeah. But yeah, this is my updated Pendulum Magician deck profile. Talked about it enough. Talked about why I built it this way. Let's actually get into the profile. So without further ado, let's start. So first of all, we play Triple Harmonizing Magician, one of the best magicians in the deck. Just being able to give you access into pretty much absolute dragon, any rank 4 in the deck, any level 8 synchro. Absolutely insane card. You need to be playing this at the max number because it's just one of the best Pendulum cards in the deck, and it honestly just helps you so much with this card. Like, honestly, this card can help you end on an additional disruption or any other sort of disruption, just to be able to guarantee you having that good end board to just be able to stop your opponent from playing the game. So this card is very vital. You don't always need it in your opening hand, but honestly, having this in your opening hand makes your hands 100% better. So 3 of this, 2 purple Poison Magician. I wouldn't play 3 of this right now because obviously it's a very good card where, as if you can just summon it and pop a face-up card on the board by killing it itself or by crashing itself or something like that. But it's a card that you need to make room for other cards, and this card is very strong, so I'll never put it to 1. But it's not something you need at 3 right now, especially seeing as Pendulum Magicians in Pendulum in general I've kind of receded a bit. So I feel like playing 2 is the perfect number just because it still allows you to get rid of your opponent's cards on board, but 3 is a bit too much for me, and I feel like 2 is the perfect number. Obviously, though, you could play 3 of this card, and it would still be pretty good. I just feel like 2 is the correct number at this moment in time. 2 Black Fang Magician. Having that access to that high scale is always really nice, so having it is nice. Honestly, just 2 has always been really good for me. I've played it at 1 in the past, felt like whenever I banished it, it was like, oh great, I've banished it, now I don't have any access to it. But I feel like 2 is just the perfect number, just so you always have access to this card. And the last Magician we're actually playing, technically outside of one other, is 1 Dragon Pit Magician. Now, we're playing the Dragon Pit Magician for 2 reasons. One, because it is an MST, being that you can target a Mystic Mine with this card, you can target pretty much any back row with this card to be able to just get rid of it by discarding another Pendulum while there's a Magician in the other scale. But also because it is a level 7, and it will allow us to make Absolute Dragon to give us access to Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. So you need to be playing this card for that. I feel like this is one of the better level 7s you could be playing. Like, you could be playing the Dragon Caller, you could be playing a Jiangshi to deal with, like, light decks, even though they're not very relevant right now. But I personally feel like Dragon Pit is the better one, just because it's an MST for Mystic Mine, and also it is just a good level 7 that you can summon from the deck and just have instant access into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. So one of this is very, very good in my opinion. For Endymions, we're playing 777 of Endymion. You want to obviously have full access to this card as well, just because it gives you that additional negate at the end of your turn. Also being that it will just guarantee free stuff, which is just really, really nice. And it being a low scale is always really cool as well. 2 Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. You don't really want to be playing this card at less than 2, in my personal opinion, because this is the card that you want to always have access to as well. Being that it's a spell negate is really good, but one of the really good things about this card is that while it's in the scale, you can just remove 6 spell counters, special summon it, and destroy up to cards equal to the number of cards you can place spell counters on. So if you have a servant and this in your scale, that's 2 free pops, which could just be absolutely insane at times. So I feel like this is just a very strong card to have at 2, and I wouldn't really cut this card down to 1 at any point in time because I feel like it's really good. Plus, it's another level 7 to give us access to Vortex, which is really nice. We also play triple Chronograph and the 1 Time Gazer to give us more access to Electromite, triple Dark Worm, and 2 Zero Gate. Triple Dark Worm is obvious, we always want access to this card just to be able to get to our Zero Gate. But the reason we're playing 2 Zero Gate is because of Absolute Dragon. Basically, obviously, we want to get Audite's Vortex Dragon as soon as possible, so I felt like playing 2 Supreme King Gate 0 was probably the better play than just playing just 1. Obviously, if you banish this card off Pot of Desires, that is a really bad thing, so you having the second one is really good in that situation. But also, it gives us another search for a low scale from Darkworm during the end, when we summon it back from another Pendulum Summon. And also, if we open one of them, then 1 Darkworm is literally just, like, 1 Darkworm and 1 Zero Gate in our opening hand is literally just an instant absolute 0. So it's just a really good card to have in 2. And as I said, I feel like this, I don't actually know if I said this in the video yet, but I feel like this deck has to devolve a bit, where it has to go back from the Guard Dragons quite a bit and go back to more of its original roots. So what I'm doing here is just playing more cards that are pendulum based and will just guarantee us more plays. So felt like this at 2 was very good, and honestly in testing it's coming up more and more, where I just want the second one to have as that level 7 for Absolute, or I just want to be able to search that low scale when I've drawn this to just be able to play the game. So just a very good option in my personal opinion. It's coming amazing in testing. For other pendulum cards though, we do play 2 Curtain Raiser, being that Curtain Raiser just is a free summon, 1 Jackal King, another thing to summon off the Servant of Endymion, just one of the better cards that you can summon off it. Majority of the time you will probably summon this card, but it's just really nice. Plus, you don't really want to be playing a ton of it, because like I'm not playing the full Endymion, the Mythical Beast package, so felt like one of this was the perfect number. And 1 Zephyr Nui to go with our Zephyr Divine Strike, just to have a free Omni Negate at any point in time in the game. So always very good. You send this with Electromite and put it in your extra deck to then add this, and then summon it back to add this from your deck to your hand, just to have a free Omni Negate that you don't really need to access for your extra deck. So that's all the monsters and technically traps. I feel like the main deck lineup is all very strong. Obviously, it's just a ton of engines as normal Pendulum decks are, but I've kind of gone more back to an original build where, sure, we've got the Endymion cards, but we're more back to how Pendulum Magicians used to play to a degree. Only really missing the Wisdom Eye Magicians. So I feel like this is a very good variant of Magicians, and I feel like it's just, from testing, it's been going really, really well. So yeah, but for spells, we play triple Pot of Desires. Consistency cards, we obviously want to see this card so we can draw 2 cards. Triple Spell Power Mastery, get us into our Servant as quick as possible, very important for it to be a free. 2 Pendulum Call, because obviously it's Pendulum Call, we can only activate 1 per turn, so we only really need to play 2. 2 Allure of Darkness, just more spells to be able to put counters on our Servant of Endymion, and also just more draw power in the deck in general. 2 Dragon Shrine and a Foolish Burial, just because we want to get the Dark Worm in the graveyard to be able to search our Supreme Gate 0, and also have access to Electromite. So that's the main deck. Main deck obviously is fully just consistency based, and that's kind of one of the reasons why Pendulums are a very strong going first deck, because they're very consistent. But if you go second and you open a consistent hand that could only get OTK, but your opponent has the disruptions to stop you from being able to get to that OTK, that's the big problem with this deck. So that's why I don't feel like it is the best deck in the format, but it's still a very strong contender. Definitely in the tier 2 slot. But this is a very strong main deck in my personal opinion. It has gone back to the old ways a bit, where we're playing like the 2 Zero Gate, and we're playing like other stuff like Dragon Pit Magician and stuff. But I feel like this is how the deck should be going right now, and it's just my personal opinion on it. But for extra deck, we do play 1 Beat Cop. Basically, we're playing 1 Beat Cop just to have that generic link, and one of the few generic link 2s. in the game, where you can use like tokens and stuff. So if you're playing against like dinosaurs and stuff and they give you a token, you can just use that token to make the beat cop, and then you have 2 down pointing arrows. We're playing 1 Lambda because it's a bigger generic Link 2, where if we use the Electromite and we just want a bigger monster, then we can just make the Lambda. We're playing 1 Electromite because the Electromite is very key in Pendulums, but obviously not as key as it used to be. Honestly, this card, it's still really strong in Pendulum, but I feel like Electromite has kind of just died down a bit. Like, obviously in a build like this, Electromite will be very strong, but if you're playing like a pure Endymion list or anything along those lines, like this card isn't actually really needed anymore, but you still need to play it in this kind of build. So yeah, 1 Electromite, 1 Blackluster Soldier to be able to just deal with like Thunder Dragons, to be able to deal with like Sky Striker if you still see them, anything big then just crash into and banish. So very good Blackluster Soldier. 1 Appaloosa to add those 3 extra negates at the end of our combos. 1 Boral Sword Dragon, just to be able to OTK a lot easier. 1 Abyss Dweller for like Orcust, Salamangreat, any graveyard related deck. 1 Daigusta Emerald to recycle our grave. 1 Tornado Dragon for background removal. 1 Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion for OTKs. 1 Absolute Dragon to summon out our Oddious Vortex Dragon. 1 FA Dawn Dragster, because we can still make this very easily. It's basically the same way how you used to make it, where you just harmonized, summoned the Time Gazer, and then just made the FA Dawn Dragster. 1 Omega. Now, Omega is an interesting choice. Now, this obviously used to be played in Pendulum, and I'm playing it now for the specific reason that if we banish any of our Endymion cards off of, off Desires, then we can just put them back in our graveyard, use Black Fang Magician, and just summon it back. So, like, I felt like this was a good option, plus it's in a negate in its own right as well, because it just removes the card from your hand. So, it's a good card. It's something that I've been testing. It's been working from what I can see. But it's just something interesting. It's a little tech that I've been testing, and it's been working nicely. And obviously, our Omni Negate of Boral's Savage Dragon. So, that's the deck. Obviously the deck is very built to go first, make a bunch of negates. Like, honestly, I can see this deck making, at any point in time, I see this deck making at least 5 negates still, but upwards of 8 negates at times, so feel like this deck is still very strong. But the only problem, obviously, it has to go first, and that is one of the biggest downfalls of decks this format. If they have to go first and they end up going second, you lose, and that's the big problem with decks this format. But nonetheless, this deck is still very cool. It can play through, I would say, at least 2 disruptions still. But obviously, that's just my thoughts and opinions on the deck. But guys, that's my deck profile. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think Pendulum are still a very strong deck? Do you like my deck profile? Are you testing this out yourself? Tell me all of that in the comment section below. And tell me what you're going to do with this deck. Or if you may have any changes that maybe could make this deck even better. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Robot1, signing out.